All right, so now, and I've said this several times, we're going to do a fairly complex example. We're going to build 3 levels deep, and typically, rule of thumb, I only go 3 levels deep. Otherwise, the URL starts getting really long and confusing. Um, but the key to building this is we're only going to do 1 level at a time. And that's really how I recommend this. So we just built shopping list. So let's suppose that you have a shopping list. Well, uh, on that shopping list, you're going to say, well, I need to go to store A for these things and store B for these other things. So a shopping list corresponds to different stores. And then when you're at the store, you're going to get certain ingredients from store A, and then you're going to get other ingredients from store B. And this is really, as an engineer, this is really where you need to spend a good amount of your time. You need to figure out what your data structures are before you start coding and I mean have a conversation with a colleague or even just have a conversation out loud with yourself where you're saying, here are what my data structures are in this app. Here's how I'm going to structure the house, and here's how they're related. And so once you figure that out, then you can use Flask commands and build out a whole lot of structure really quickly. So I'm going to show you how to do it the correct way. And then I'm going to show you how to do it the wrong way in 2 different versions. So we'll end up with 3 apps here. Um, let's do it the correct way first. So here I'm in my demos folder. LS shows me the other folders, and I just have cooker. So we'll go ahead and make my project. So we'll do a Flask new my project, and we'll build this. We'll build first shopping list, and then we'll build store, and then we'll build ingredient. So we'll cd into my project. We will run that. All right. Should open up. All right, so here's our hello world. And so our ultimate goal is to have shopping list. So you have like shopping list 1, store 2, and it should be stores 2, and then ingredients, and then a particular ingredient. So 404 right now. I went the full way. We'll see what happens here. So we need to build this up. So I'm in my project. So I'll do Flask new. I'm sorry, not new. Make controller. And then we're going to say shopping list controller minus CRUD minus M, and I want this to be one data structure, 2 words, so I'm going to use flat. All right, so we'll run that. All right, and then we'll go ahead and let's build off of this. So now I want store, so just add in store, and then come here and say, instead of flat, I want nested. You're like, no, this isn't going to work because you're going to nest and it's going to create like shopping and then list and then store. And I want shopping list all one thing. It's okay. It's okay. Flask commands knows. So just hang in there. We'll be okay. So nest, and then boom. All right. And so you can see, look, shopping list, store. We're okay. Shopping lists and store. All right, and then ingredient. Still 404 over here, but we're about to come in and ingredient. All right, and run that. And it ran. Look at that, 404 went away. So there we go. So we have all the levels now. So for 3 levels, and it took like little to no time to do that. We'll go in VS Code and show you everything that got built out, but let's just navigate around. Here's shopping list. That's all the shopping list. Here's a particular shopping list. And then here are the stores that you would need to go to for that shopping list. Here is a particular store for that shopping list. And then here are all the ingredients that you would need and at that store. And then here's a particular ingredient. All no 404 errors, and everything is registered. If we go into VS Code, we should see some really nice nesting. If you come back to this app multiple months later, you're gonna see exactly how this was structured. So you can go into app, you go into your init, you should have shopping list blueprint registered. Then in the routes, there's your shopping list. Under shopping list, there's store. In the init of shopping list, the shopping list store blueprint is registered. And so under store, there's your ingredients. In the init of store, there's your shopping list store ingredients blueprint registered. So right there. And then under ingredient, here are all your routes. And so you can see you've got lots of IDs running around, right? In this particular show page, you have 3 IDs. And you can probably see why I wouldn't go more than 3 deep. And even having Flask commands build this out for you, it starts becoming unwieldy after 3. Just that's my rule of thumb. Even at 3, it's quite a lot, right, to take in. But I try doing this without Flask commands, and you'll see, my goodness, it's so easy to make a typo. And there were no typos. Everything just works. So that's great. That for me, that really shows the power of this little package. Let's go back and show you what not to do. Because often, we get antsy and we just want things to be built. So if we had run the first command, shopping list, and made that flat, and then we had gone ahead and given the very last command, what would happen is it would say, okay, I see that shopping list is a registered model. So that's your parent, and you want nested. And so I'm just going to take everything after the parent before I get to the word controller, which is store ingredient, and I'm going to make that the new data structure. And in the event that you want a nested 2-word, the second one being a 2-word data structure, then this is the way you can do that. But for us, we didn't want that. So, but let me just show you in a new app, you would get this. So let's go, and we'll close this. So, and we'll come to VS Code, we'll close that, and we'll go to our terminal. And we will start closing tabs. All right, so we'll CD out of here. We'll list everything. So you can see we'll make a My Project 2. Flask, new, My Project 2. We'll wait a few seconds. So we're gonna build it out in this manner right here. So we'll CD into My Project 2. We'll run My Project 2. give that a second. The terminal's about, or the browser's about to open. So in this example, we are going to do a Flask make controller, and we'll have, ooh, I'm so used to recipe, right? Shopping list controller, and we'll do CRUD, and then we'll do -m to generate the model, and we'll tell it that the model is flat because we want shopping list all one word. Okay, so we'll run that, and then we'll come in here and we'll do a store and an ingredient, and we'll say instead of flat, because that would make a one model that is 4 words if we left it as flat. We'll change this to nest. And what Flask Commands is going to do is it's going to scan your project. It's going to say, okay, I see that you have a model called shopping list. So that it anchors that. That's the parent. And then the words after that before controller are going to become the new model. And let's go into VS Code just so you can see. Bump that up. And then go to our model. Okay, let's go to the Dunder init. Okay, so we have shopping list right there. So let's bring this down so you can see what's about to happen. Boom. And then, so it creates store ingredient. So if the point I'm trying to make here is if you wanted a second nest, your second model, your child model on your nesting to have 2 words, this is the way to do that. However, if you were going for the 3 models, which we were doing at the very beginning of this video, you need to do this in order. You need to do it one at a time. So right now what we'll have is in our URLs, we're going to have shopping list. That's going to work. But if I go to stores, I'm going to end up with a 404. But if I go to store ingredients, then there's that page. And so now I have the RESTful actions in this manner. And if that's what you wanted, then great. But if that's not what you wanted, then you need to do this in succession. Okay, now it's very tempting. If you're like, I know I want shopping list store ingredient, and Flask Commands is super smart, and it is. So why can't I just do it all in one go and tell Flask Commands, build me shopping list store ingredient controller, and should be nested, and generate the models for me. So a couple things that are going to be problematic with that scenario is that it's only going to make RESTful resources on the very last one. And it's also going to, every segment is going to become a model. So you're going to end up with shopping as a model, list as a model, store as a model, ingredient as a model. And that's not what you wanted. You wanted shopping list all together. Let's run that just so you can see, but you'll end up with, if you want 4 models and every single model is a single word, then this does work. However, so here's the big however, the CRUD is only happening on the last model. So you would have to go back and write all the RESTful actions for the prior ones. Let me just show you that, and then we'll restate the takeaway here. So let's go in, we'll close this, we'll close VS Code, and we'll close this. CD out of here. List everything. We'll do a Flask new my project 3. All right. So once that builds, we'll do one command. You'll end up with 4 models, 1 RESTful. One of the models will have the RESTful resources on it. So CD into my project 3, and we'll run everything. All right, so here's our hello world. Great. So we are going, I love seeing the models being created. So let's bump this up so you can see it a little bit better. Here's our Dunder and Knit for models. So we know we want a controller, so we're thinking of this in the controller term. So we'll do Flask make controller, and we're gonna say shopping list, and then a store, and then ingredient controller. Okay. And then we want RESTful actions. We want all 7 routes. We're going to tell it to generate the models for us. And then we are going to say this is a nest. We do not want 1. We want a shopping list, a store, and an ingredient. And if we don't do this in succession, that is not what we're going to get. What we're going to get is we're going to have each segment is going to end up being its own model. So let's see if that's fun. There you go. So you have a shopping, a list, a store, and an ingredient, all their own sections. And then you're going to now, if you look at your routes, in shopping, you're not going to have any routes. So there is no shoppings or shoppings 1, right? That's the problem here when you don't do this in succession. Shoppings, that's a 404. There's no shoppings 1, right? That's a 404. And then the same thing with list. You've got list, but there are no routes. You've got store, but there are no routes. Now, under ingredient, which was the last one, if you look at the routes, you're going to see that you have all 7 routes. And here are your IDs, right? So you have, and here's an example where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you're bringing along 4 IDs, and it just becomes a lot. So the point of the story is to make sure that you do this in order. So you want to build nested resources 1 command at a time. From the top down. Run the parent resource command first, then run the child resources under that parent resource. By doing that and adding CRUD each time, you're going to end up with the RESTful resources on each model. And so you just repeat that pattern. So that is how you can do a couple things. 1, make something very complicated like this. If the child needs to be a 2-word model, a 2-word model, then you can do that. You just use the 2 words the second time around. So in this example, the child was a 2-word model. But the key takeaway is to do this 1 model at a time. All right, we'll see you in the next video.